Hey, what is up? Thanks for checking out first ProRevenge post. If you don't slow down, Grandpa will break your axles. By Bronze Diggin. This is not my story, but rather my grandfather's. A little background: my grandfather has a very short fuse when it comes to dealing with other people's bullshit. He's sort of mellowed out as he's gotten older, but when he was younger I've been told his temper was legendary. At the time of this story, my grandfather was living on a small farm. Next to his house a raised levee that was made of dirt and covered in loose gravel. The levee formed a backward C shape as it went by his house since it followed the path of the river, with his house on the outside curve. This, along with the trees on both sides of the road, created a blind curve in the road that will be important later. During harvest season, numerous trucks would drive past his house to and from the various farms in the area to pick up produce and take it where it needed to go. A problem arose, however, when the truck drivers started ignoring the posted speed limit, 10 to 15 miles per hour, and going too fast around the aforementioned curve. This speeding caused the trucks to throw rocks, gravel, and huge clouds of dust down onto my grandfather's house on a daily basis. Naturally, this was quite annoying, as his backyard was getting covered in dust and the rear of his house was being constantly peppered by rocks. First, he tried speaking to the truck drivers themselves, which went nowhere. Then, he tried talking to the owners of the trucking company, which didn't do anything either. He even put up homemade signs on his stretch of the road asking the trucks to slow down. But it was to no avail. At this point, my grandfather realized that he was going to have to do something more provocative to get their attention. So one night, he got his tractor out with a bulldozer blade on the front, scraped up some dirt, and built a homemade speed bump just around the blind curve of the road. And I don't mean a modern, mostly flat speed bump either, 3-4 inches tall, by his own estimation. This thing was about 8-10 inches in the center, so more like a small mound. To top it all off, it was perfectly positioned so that by the time a driver saw it, it would be way too late to even try and slow down. He didn't have to wait long to see the results. The very next morning, he was sitting in his kitchen when he heard a loud crashing noise outside. Upon investigating, he found a truck that had fallen right into his trap. It had driven around the curve going way too fast, hit the mound full speed, lost control, and driven straight off the 25-foot levee into a giant olive tree. This completely wrecked the truck, as the tree hadn't budged at all with the impact. The driver, though stunned by the accident, was mostly unharmed, and proceeded to have a new asshole ripped by my grandfather over his speeding. As you can imagine, there was no more speeding from those truckers ever again. The cherry on top was that the company that owned the trucks actually had to pay him to use his tractor to pull the truck back onto the road, as the area was too far from town for any tow trucks to come out and no one else in the area had a big enough tractor. DLDR, speeding trucks throw rocks on my grandfather's house. He responds by building a massive speed bump that sends a truck flying. Edit: shit, this blew up. That's awesome. Love reading all the comments and discussion. At this point, I'd like to say that what my grandfather did was highly dangerous, as many people have pointed out. He is incredibly lucky that things turned out the way they did. Please don't go and build your own speed bump. Thankfully, we live in a time where it is much easier to hold people accountable for things like speeding, and can take people like the truck drivers to court. This is an option that was more than likely was unavailable to my grandfather at the time, for many reasons, but mostly due to the fact that he was poor and had to spend 12-14 hours a day working at this point. Also, he did take the speed bump down after this incident. I think the results shocked even him a bit as well. Edit number 2, for clarification, the truck did not fly through the air into the tree. That would have killed the driver for sure. The truck drove off the levee and only hit the tree after going through a bit of dirt and field. This would, in my opinion, have slowed the truck down a bit before the final impact. Also, the speeds at which these take place are not normal freeway speeds. From my own experience driving on these levees, the driver couldn't have been going more than maybe 25 to 30 miles per hour, as the levees are not paved and can be treacherous at high speeds. I'd also like to mention again that this was a large truck, not a small car, so the heavier weight likely also contributed to the lack of injuries. Thanks for watching. We are posting new content daily. Please like and subscribe.